Dean Martin was one of the most recognized and popular singers, actors, and entertainers in history. Buckle on up as you are about to hear fascinating stories of the Rat Pack and more from his immensely gifted and multi-talented daughter.
Welcome to the Motivation Show podcast, where we interview remarkable world-class experts that help bring out the greatness within you. Top book authors, super successful business people, and outstanding special guests that will motivate and inspire you with their incredible, uplifting stories and life-changing tips and strategies. Our goal is your success. If you desire more out of life, you've dialed into the right show. So fasten your seatbelts, friends, and let's get ready for some high-octane motivation. Now, your host, the mayor of motivation, Eli Marcus.
Our guest on the Motivation Show is an influential American singer, actor, and performer, and the very proud daughter of iconic entertainer Dean Martin. She achieved success early in her career in films, theater, and television, then quickly added to her repertoire recording artist, best-selling author, nationally syndicated radio host, licensed pilot, I like that one, and entrepreneur. As an internationally acclaimed entertainer, hit recording artist, and in-demand performer playing to sold-out audiences worldwide, she has become an instantly recognizable voice and figure in the pantheon of the great American songbook. And I can't wait to hear more about that songbook. So like her dad, she makes it all look so easy. How does she do it? And audiences can't get enough. Welcome to the Motivation Show, Deana Martin.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is and wow, what an introduction. This is great.
I had the pleasure of meeting you at the famous Patsy's restaurant in Manhattan, their 75th year anniversary. And what struck me about you is your energy. That's one word I would use. That you have incredible energy. How do you get motivated to do all the things that you do in a given day?
Well, you know what? It's funny you should ask that because I do have a lot of energy. First of all, I like to eat right, exercise, keep ourselves fit and, learn new things every day. So for me, getting up and then it's a new day. I'm going to learn a new song. I'm going to get healthier, and I have my handsome husband John, and so I just keep motivated that way. As luck would have it, I was born with a good attitude. I've got the glass is half full, and for me, it's just reaching out and touching people is motivating for me, and staying healthy is a big part of that. So my husband and I, in fact, my husband's in on the treadmill right now. I'll get on after him.
Well, you look like you're in incredible shape. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, you just keep that up.
Well, thank you very much. It's about the food you eat and the calories and burning them off and staying positive and being around people that you love, which is great. And entertaining people. That's what I do.
Well, I think you just hit the nail right on the head because you wake up in the morning and you do exactly what you want to do, entertaining people. That sounds like something that you can't think of another thing that you possibly could want to do. And then to have the love that surrounds you. And it came across to me when I met you. You didn't have to be that friendly because a lot of people want to meet you, but you were incredibly friendly. I kind of felt like I was a celebrity the way you treated me. You were very, very warm and very touching. And so I didn't forget that. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, I don't care how many times she says no. I still want to get her on my show and put her positivity out to the world. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, that's good. Being persistent is very important. But you know what? And I have to tell you, that treating people like celebrities is a good thing. My dad always taught me, treat people the way you want to be treated, and then everything will be fine. And so and that's who he was. He could go and have dinner with the Queen of England, or he could go with the busboys, and at the casino behind and have a perfectly great time with both of them and just be comfortable with both. And I think I inherited that from him, just being happy with people.
Well, a lot of people can definitely be intimidated by being around the celebrity. They feel less than. So to pick people up and make them feel, that they themselves are also special and not less than, that says a lot about you and it says a lot about your father.
Well, thank you very much. And it's true, and it's worked well through my life. And for me, being able to sing and entertain people and give them joy, that's what it's about.
So, Deana, it has been said that seeing you on a live performance, there's a sense that there is nothing you cannot do. And you have this, you've had an abundance of success under your belt. You've been a hit recording artist. You're a highly praised concert performer. You're an accomplished actor, best-selling author. I can go on and on. You seem to excel effortlessly at everything that you do. Does it really come easy to you? And either way, how do you make it look so easy?
Well, you know what? And that's one of the things that I studied my dad with because he always made it look so easy. And it wasn't until I got into the business that I found it's really hard. It's a lot of hard work. And so it's putting in the hours. Let's say if it's a script, learn the whole script, learn your lines, know what you're going to do, be on time, know all the lyrics to all of the songs. Find out what it is that motivates you to be that character, that person. And so it's just for me a lot of rehearsal, a lot of studying, and then once you have all that down, then you can go on stage and just be that character, but be relaxed and secure in knowing that you know what you're going to do. And one thing that my dad always taught me is always be early and get there, know what you're going to do, hit your mark, sing your songs, you sing from your heart. Whatever you do, do it from your heart. And you can't go wrong. And keep the mistakes in. It's just like, he says, you can make a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. That's like on my TV show on the Facebook Live that I do. It's live. There's no editing. I can't make a mistake and say, oh, well, let's fix that. No, just go on. And everybody makes mistakes and it's okay.
Yeah, I love the lesson about getting there early. And I myself used to be 5, 10 minutes late because I try to time everything to be perfect. And then, you kind of learn that nobody complains about people that are there early. They only complain about, even if you're 5 minutes late, to some people, you might as well be 3 hours late. So it's a great
You're
lesson.
absolutely right. And in fact, I learned that by doing, being on stage. Because when I was doing a play, maybe Star Spangled Girl was maybe the first one I was doing. Neil Simon's brother, Danny Simon, was directing us. And if you were late, you would get fined $50. So if you weren't there an hour early, and if you were late, they would take your pay, and you're not making that much money anyways. So I learned you've got to be early, you've got to be on time. It's important, and it's respect for everybody else.
In books like Mommy Dearest, we found out that sometimes being a offspring of a celebrity is not always what it was cracked up to be. In your case, it seems to me like you and your father had tremendous love and respect. What else did you learn from Dean Martin?
Well, as I say, of course, I learned, to treat people the way you want to be treated. But I learned that, you really have to manage your time. And my dad, when I think about what he did from the Broadway show, excuse me, from radio, the recordings, the movies, the nightclubs, absolutely, he timed everything just perfectly. And so I just watched him work. And well, now, imagine this having my Uncle Frank Sinatra, Uncle Sammy Davis Jr., learning from the best. I was around them and seeing how they worked, how they managed their time. And so just being around, my father, who had the most fabulous sense of humor, he was so kind and funny. It just kind of, it's in my DNA. I'll tell you that. And I'm grateful that I was named Deana after, Dean with an A. And so, I've been pretty lucky in my life and I have worked very, very hard on my craft and everything that I do. My dad didn't like to rehearse. I like to rehearse. I like to make sure of what I'm doing. Then we can make it look like it's not rehearsed.
Well, it's a heck of a way to grow up having, as you call it, pallies around like
Yeah.
Uncle Dean and Uncle Sammy. You know,
Yeah, Uncle Frank and Uncle Sammy. Yeah, and then having, maybe Christmas, you'd have Rosemary Clooney would be at the house. So we're singing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," and there I am with Rosemary Clooney, or it's Peggy Lee or Ella Fitzgerald, and going to my father's TV show every Sunday afternoon when he would go in after he would play golf, and the people that were on that show, unbelievable how he could sing with anybody and make everybody feel comfortable.
well, I really love the Dean Martin roast. That's my
Oh,
favorite. I mean, I can't get enough of that. I still look at that in YouTube and
oh
I
yeah.
crack up. And Dean is as funny as any of them. One of my favorites was Don Rickles. You know, I just can't get enough of Don
Oh,
Rickles. But
Don Rickles. We used to call him Bullet Head, and Bullet Head and Foster Brooks. Oh my
oh
gosh.
my God, yeah,
Oh my gosh. You
classic.
know, in the bar where he's the pilot. So,
Oh,
I mean, all of those things, priceless. And and as I say, my dad didn't rehearse those. He went in and he just did it. He was brilliant.
he was just himself. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what made him sweet. And so, speaking of that, your father was really loved by hundreds of millions of people. He's such an iconic, never to be forgotten entertainer. What do you think was his secret sauce, his X factor?
Well, you know what? He was classy and he was cool. And so there was just his demeanor, how he dressed, how he held himself. He was classic and classy, and and that sense of humor. And he didn't think of himself as, he in fact he thought of himself, he couldn't believe he was Dino Crosetti, born in Steubenville, Ohio, an Italian. He was proud to be Italian and singing those Italian songs. So it was just the whole package. My grandmother Angela, she was a seamstress and she would tailor all of his clothes. So maybe that's where he got his sense of style. My grandfather, Gaetano Crocetti, he always looked dapper and, I mean, it was a whole thing of style and class and, just down to earth people. So I don't know if there's that one it thing, except that my dad was the king of cool.
Well, he certainly was, and like I said, millions and millions of people just loved him.
Yeah.
Again, I can't get enough of his old movies. And speaking of old movies, you also grew up with this interesting character, one of my top three comedians of all time, Jerry Lewis. What was he like to be around?
Oh, he was funny. I tell you, and he was, and from day one, in fact, I was born in New York City at Park and 64th Street. And my dad was in Los Angeles with Jerry Lewis. They were opening at Slapsy Maxie's that night. So I've known him all of my life, literally all of my life. And, even through the years that they had split up, I was still good friends with Jerry Lewis. And he was a pally of mine. And when I was writing my book, Memories Are Made of This, Dean Martin Through His Daughter's Eyes, I called Jerry. I said, I want to come down and talk to you. He said, well, come on. So my handsome husband and I went to San Diego, went onto his boat. And, when he saw me, he said, lady. And he hugged me, and lady. And he put his hands on my, and he started to cry.
Hello,
Like,
lady.
yeah, hello, lady. It's like, oh, he's here. And he put his hands on my cheeks and he said, there's my partner. And we had the best time together. And he gave me lots of notes and, how much he loved my dad. And then he was playing a song time after time. And I started singing with him. He said, why don't you come on to the telethon, the MDA telethon with me and sing the song? And we did. And it was priceless. And he said, it'll be Martin and Lewis together again. And so, yeah, I mean, we remained friends for all through the years.
Well, I grew up with Martin and Lewis, and as far as I'm concerned, with all due respect to every other pair, there's just never going to be another Martin and Lewis. They were one of a kind. They
They
just
were
played off
so
each other.
funny. Oh,
Oh my
yeah, they
God,
did.
the
Oh,
best
yeah.
films. Yeah, those were the good old days.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So you
They were.
talked about I believe your 2004 memoir, Memories Are Made of This.
Mhm.
In it, you share a lot of wonderful, never before told stories about your father and, again, what you call his pallies. So
Right.
what were some of these interesting stories, that maybe the public, doesn't know as well?
Oh, there's so many, and they should pick up the book because it's really something, and it's a book about my life and my dad's life, and you don't have to be a Dean Martin fan. You don't have to be it's a book for everybody because it's what happens to you in your life and to me in my life and everybody. So they will be surprised at some of the things that I went through, my dad went through, but I think one of my favorite times was going to Las Vegas when I was a young girl, going to the Sands Hotel when the Rat Pack was going to be there and sitting in the audience, ringside, of course. And then the stage would be dark and you'd hear the announcer say, ladies and gentlemen, and now direct from the bar, Dean Martin. And then my dad would walk out and me sitting down there in the audience and I would hear people go, oh, there he is. And he was handsome and he was funny and he sang and he was cool. And then all of a sudden, Sammy Davis Jr. would walk out and then Frank Sinatra would walk out and they adored each other and they would sing and they would entertain and they were having a good time. And I remember sitting there thinking, that's what I want to do. I'm going to sing and entertain people and have a good time because we were all having as much fun as they were, or they looked like they were having fun. And they were perfect at what they did. They adored each other. They weren't jealous of each other. They would let the other shine. And so I thought those were the best times for me. And, just I think that first time seeing them all on stage together was amazing. And then wearing Sammy Davis Jr.'s tuxedo, that was a pretty good thing. So it's all in the book. There's so many great things. Frank Sinatra used to call me the social butterfly because he would be over at the house. I'd run in and I'd kiss him, "Hi, Uncle Frank," and then off I'd go because I had things I had to do. And so I was the social butterfly for him. But great times. And I've been blessed in my life. I really have.
Well, I am not the singer you are, but I'm going to put myself on the spot here because, I can't help but singing in the shower. There's a tune that just always is in my head. It's a volare,
Oh,
oh, contare, oh. Now,
oh,
again, I don't do that justice. You do.
oh, yes. Well, and volare means to fly in Italian. And in fact, we have my husband and I are both pilots, as we say, and our plane is called Volare. And so,
Oh,
it's
wow.
volare,
There we go.
whoa, cantare, whoa, 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 whoa. So,
Mm.
all of these songs that my dad sang that are just so beautiful. And he had that gorgeous voice and he could sing anything. And I think out of all of them, he had the best voice. And I don't think that he had all the credit for being the fabulous singer that he was or the fabulous actor that he was. And you know what? It might be because he made it all look so easy.
Yeah,
And
there's two words that come to mind when I think of him: smooth and cool.
there you go, smooth and cool. Yeah, he was. And and he was funny. Oh my gosh. And it's not that he was telling jokes, he was just funny.
Yeah, let's talk about Deana Martin.
Okay. All
Let's
right.
talk
Well,
about what you're up to. You had great success. You had a 2006 debut CD release. Memories are made of this. You've stayed in the top 10 for 40 consecutive
yeah.
weeks with that. You've had all kinds of great stuff. Tell us what's going on in Deana Martin's world.
Well, right now, what we're doing is, as I say, we're doing that Facebook, and I'm live streaming, and I'm actually, Polestar. Polestar is the trade magazine for for singers and entertainers, and it's all over the world. I'm number 2 in the world for live
Wow,
streaming.
beautiful.
Number 2. So that's all over the world. In fact, I get so many comments on the show, which is great. And the people, 15 million people have viewed the show, and it's really a lot of fun. And it's learning new songs every week. And my little team, my handsome husband John and Rosario, and then Rick Prevey, who's my musical director, we pick out songs. People make requests for songs, and I have learned during this year because we've been doing this for a year. In fact, this Friday it'll be 56 weeks
Wow.
on every Friday doing it. Eastern time is 4 o'clock, and so people can, and they're all on my website deanamartin.com, so you can go and binge watch them if you want. It's so remarkable the comments that I get and the joy that we are bringing to people all over the world who were, and we started it because all my shows were canceled, and I said, what am I going to do, and it was last year, and Rosario said, why don't you do Facebook Live? I said, what's Facebook Live? And so we did one, and there were about 50,000 people watched. And I thought, wow. So we just kept on going. We have not missed a week since that. And I've learned, I think, 70 new songs. And,
Wow.
the press, and telling jokes. And I ask people to send in their jokes. I mess them up and they're corny, but it's good. And, so all these new songs that I have learned, we're going to make a new album, a new, CDs and everything. So we're working on that. And
Can't wait.
John is working on getting, shows happening once we're all opened up. And I think we'll be in Las Vegas at Caesars. And, so things are happening, but we're making a movie out of my book that was put on hold for this past year.
Yay.
Yay. And we're doing a documentary of the fabulous King of Cool. So we have a lot of things, getting ready
Is
to.
Jennifer Love Hewitt playing you? Did I hear that?
Well, yeah, that's yeah. And so here I'm going to take a little sippy poo. I always have a little sippy poo on my show. Cheers to you, Eli.
Cheers, cheers. And we got to get you to number one. We have to let people know. Is there a
That's
mailing list
right.
that people can get on so they can follow all of
Well,
your moves?
sure. They go to deanamartin.com
Okay.
And that's Deana Martin.com. There's not two N's in my name. It's Deana Martin.com. And just go onto my website and join my mailing list. And
Well,
and I respond to every email. It takes a long time. All the comments when they go on to YouTube or Facebook Live and to watch the show, and they can send in comments because I'm sitting right there. I mean, I'm singing live, and John's doing the music. He's hitting all my tracks, and I'm singing, and Rosario's looking at all of the comments that are coming in, and she'll say, "Eli's in the house." I said, "Well, hi, Eli."
I am
And
going
he
to be in
said,
the house. I'm going to be sending in some of those comments, you know.
there you go, and some jokes, I
I'm
hope.
gonna, yeah, and some jokes. Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, meeting you was a highlight. You were just so much fun. And
Oh,
so your voice is smooth and silky as well.
oh,
And I
thank you.
can't wait for more of your Facebook Live and can't wait for the movie to come out. And I'm going to be there. I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna, listen to all your great stuff. And I want to let my audience know that Deana Martin's the real deal. She is just great. If you ever bump into her in the street, don't be surprised if you get a nice hug. You just
That's
such
true.
a delight. So I really want to thank you for coming on the show today. Any last words? Anything else you want to share with our listening audience?
Let's see, I just want people to be, to be positive and, try and learn new things, get up, eat right, exercise, and, have a good personality, and good things will come your way.
Mm,
It's just, for me, I know, meeting new people is fantastic, but staying positive and, making people happy and, gratitude is very, very important. So,
gratitude, the biggie.
gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Don't
So
take
I
things
guess,
for granted.
yeah, exactly. So
And just one last question. I was curious, would you change anything about your life if you could live it over again?
regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. Would I change anything? No, because everything that has happened to me along the has made me who I am today. There have been good times and bad times, and getting through them. So uh, I don't think I would change anything because, as I say, this is what I am. I can only try and do better tomorrow, or once I get off this show. And it's just staying positive, trying to do the best you possibly can. As I say, I am very blessed. So, but thank you for being there. Would you do anything differently? What are you going to do after the show?
Well, I think the important thing is to take every day and make it the first day of the rest of your life. So don't go backwards, don't change anything. It sets you up for the future. So I think a lot like you. Start right now. Start doing all the things that you felt that you couldn't do or didn't do before. Don't look in the past, look in the future and live for the moment.
Yes, very good. So now my New Year's resolution was to clean my closet. I'm going to go back up there right now and put
That's a
something
good
away.
one.
Okay.
And thank you so much. Our guest today on the Motivation Show has been Deana Martin. She is lovely, she is talented, and she's got a hell of a voice. Go listen.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Deana.
thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We love our listeners, and we believe you have greatness within you. If you like The Motivation Show, we appreciate you subscribing, rating, and reviewing us. Check out EliMarcusSuccess.com to hear more inspiring shows and to read our motivational blog. That's EliMarcusSuccess.com.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.